Good morning, students. Today I'm going to start your fifth poem from your flamenco book, that is Aunt Jennifer's Tiger, which is written by Andre Rich. First of all, we'll read about the poet. She is Andre Rich. She was born in 1929 and she took her last breath on 2012. She was an American poet, essayist, and feminist. She was known as one of the most widely read and influenced poets of the second half of the 20th century. She talks about a woman's experiences in her married life. She has tried to explore the inner feelings of a woman who is living under the dominance of man. She is underage. She created Tiger, which expresses the inner desire of a fable woman. The theme of the poem is the Aunt Jennifer Tigers addresses the constant of the married life, difficulties of the married life. The tiger symbolizes the suppressed desire of the poet who is fearless or which is fearless like them or like tigers. Here poet just wanted to tell us that only body can be subjected to subjugation, not the desire which find an outlet in art. Physical suffering ends with death. A person dies, his physical suffering ends. Here in the poem, Aunt Jennifer is dominated by her husband continuously. Some expressions like finger fluttering, ordeals, mastered, hard to pull indicates her fear. Now, message of the poem is Aunt Jennifer's Tiger is a statement of conflict in women, especially between the impulse of freedom and imagination. Aunt Jennifer wants a life that she embroiders on the panel. She wants a colorful, vibrant life which every woman should have the power to create. Now, summary of the poem, children. The poet expresses the inner feeling of a woman, that is Aunt Jennifer. The aunt is embroidering a motif comprising of energetic, fearless tiger moving freely around the bright greenery. She is living life of submissiveness to her husband's command. Her acts are dominated by him and fears her constantly. This pattern of free and fearless tigers reflects her inner desire to live free and fearless life. Tigers are graceful, elegant, and bright. Aunt Jennifer's fingers tremble as she embroiders. She is old but still fears her husband. She does not enjoy the freedom to do anything as per her wish. She is scared doing the embroidery too and fear with his wrath. Since the day she got married, she has been fulfilling the demand of her husband. The wedding ring on her hand is the constant reminder that she belongs to her husband. The burden demanding marriage has exhausted her. The torment will not end until her death. Even after her death, the ring will remain on her hand. The tigers she is embroidering will continue to move around freely forever. Her desire of freedom and fearlessness will never on to her tiger. Now the explanation of the poem, children. Aunt Jennifer's tiger pranced across the screen, bright topaz denizen of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek, chivalric certainty. Prance means to jump. Topaz, a yellow stone, precious yellow stone. Denizen, a native person who live in the forest. Chivalric means honored person, especially for the woman who gives honor. The poet is describing a lady whom she addressed as Aunt Jennifer. She says that Aunt Jennifer is doing embroidery on a piece of cloth which could be a tablecloth or a wall hanging. She has designed it with beautiful tigers which are running fearlessly in the green forest. She has described their beauty by comparing them with a precious yellow stone known as topaz. She says that they appeared bright yellow in the green backdrop of forest. They are fearless and they are not affected by the presence of men. Here we can sense the contrast of behavior between the tiger and aunt. Though the tiger designed by her as fearless, but she herself is afraid of her husband. Further, the poet says that the tigers are proud, fearless citizens of forest. They are very shy and elegant. Now, second stanza. Aunt Jennifer finger fluttering through her wool, find even ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of uncle's wedding band sit heavy upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. Fluttering mean moving or shaking, you can say. Here the poet describes the fear of Aunt Jennifer's towards her husband. She says that while she is doing embroidery, her fingers are shaking with fear of her husband. Her husband doesn't approve her hobby of embroidery. Therefore, she trembles while she is embroidering the piece of cloth. It has become difficult for her to pull her needle up and down. Then she described the wedding ring which was given by uncle to Aunt Jennifer on her wedding day. She says that it is a kind of burden for her to wear this ring. She has been tortured by her husband so much that the wedding ring, which could have been a beautiful gift for her, seems like a burden to her. She has faced so many difficulties in her married life that the ring is described as a heavy band on her terrible fingers. On her, you can say, on her fingers, trembling fingers. This means that the ring is associated with some bad experiences in the form of torture she had faced because of her husband's dominating behavior. Now the third stanza. When Aunt Jennifer is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeal she mastered by. The tiger in the panel that she made will go prancing, proud, unafraid. Ordeal means bad experience or bad incident. Here, married has been related with this ordeal. Prancing means jumping. The poet says that one can easily sense Anne's desire for freedom and fearlessness through her design of tigers. Further, she says that it's not possible for Anne to achieve his freedom during her lifetime. She will attain it only after her death. But here also, the irony of her life is that still she will be tied up with shackles in the form of her husband's wedding ring. The ring was the sole proof that torture which she had faced from her husband. On the other hand, there are the tiger designed by Aunt Jennifer, which will always depict her desire of living a fearless life by jumping proudly and bravely on the piece of cloth. Here the poet Andrew Rich in the poem Aunt Jennifer Tiger uses symbol to express his feeling in the poem. Tigers. The embroidered tigers that give the poem its title are symbol of pride and fearlessness. As they prance with chivalric certainty, these are qualities Aunt Jennifer is not able to exercise in her own life, but can grant to her creations. Through her art, these positive qualities not only exist in her life but live on after she has died. This pride is her artful tiger allows her to leave behind a legacy that highlights her dreams and aspiration rather than just her suffering. Wedding ring is also one of the symbol. The wedding ring Aunt Jennifer wears is a single part of a thing that stands for a whole, for her entire unhappy marriage. She is terrified of her husband, and the ring symbolizes this with the way it weighs down her hand. The fear infects every part of her life, and it makes her struggle even when her husband is not present, such as when she is at her needle point. The ring is even described as her husband's rather than hers, signifies his power over her in the marriage. Later, when the speaker is describing Aunt Jennifer's death, she uses language that evokes the wedding band. Terrified hand will lie means Aunt Jennifer's terrified hand will lie. Still ringed will ordeal she mastered by means after the death she has not been having his own identity. She has been mastered by her husband after her death also. Sewing. Aunt Jennifer's embroidery is a symbol for art and more especially for women's art. It is how Aunt Jennifer creates her tigers and the medium through which she is able to share them with her younger relatives. Though it is difficult for her to do so, she persists in her skillful embroidery and is rewarded for it with an artistic legacy full of fantastic and fearless beasts. Aunt Jennifer is a symbol of a typical victim of male oppression in an unhappy marriage who suffers a loss of individuality, dignity, and personal freedom silently. She becomes dependent, fearful, and frail. Another symbol is embroidery, a symbol of creative expression. The artwork expresses the Aunt Jennifer's suppressed desire and becomes her escape from the oppressive reality of her life. Another symbol is aunt. In the last stanza, the word aunt is used as the oppressed to oppose to Aunt Jennifer. It shows that she has lost her identity completely, thus lost even her name. Ringed with ordeals. Here in the poem, even the death would not free her, as the wedding band, a symbol of oppression, would still be on her finger. Visual imagery. Bright topaz denizen, the world of green, is also used by the poet to beautify the poem. The contrast of the poem. Aunt Jennifer is an oppressed woman dominated by male superiority, victimized, fearful, weak, timid, feeble, shivering in fear, and weighed upon the marriage. Whereas the tiger, she weaves chivalric, confident, fearless, assertive, strong, and energetic. This is the contrast between the two things. The woman who is really oppressed, but her inner desire is very confident, very strong, very energetic, like a tiger. Now, here are some literary devices which is used by the Embroidery in her poem to beautify it. Some symbols which are used by the Embroidery here is uncle, aunt, tiger, wedding band, Aunt Jennifer's hand. Uncle, the male domination. Aunt, the oppressive woman victimized by the male dominating society. Tiger, the inner soul, which is fearless. Wedding band, which is responsibility and restrictions. Aunt Jennifer hand means this shows that he has been oppressed. He cannot able to live her own life. Transfer if you take terrified hands, which representing her being terrified. Pun, literary device has been used here in the word ring, which has two meaning. Ring, which uncle gave her in her marriage, and to put her in her domination. And ringed is also the difficulty which has been ringed her throughout the life, surrounded her throughout her life. Another device, irony. First one is a weak and submissive woman weaving a picture of tiger that are strong and fearless. Another irony is the brutal tigers are depicted chivalric and the cultured man is depicted as oppressor. Third one is even when the creator dies, even when the Aunt Jennifer dies, her work will continue to exist. Another device is used as contrast. The characteristics of Aunt Jennifer and the characteristics of Tiger is a contrast to each other. Aunt Jennifer is oppressive, submissive. Tiger is energetic, strong. Alliteration device. Here used in finger fluttering, FF word has been used to make the poem beautiful. Certain imageries has also used by the poet, just like a bright topaz denizen in the world of green, men beneath the tree, wedding band, sit heavy. These are some imageries which used by the poet to express herself nicely. So that's all the poem, children. Read the poem nicely so that you can able to understand it properly. Thank you.